Well, welcome into My Dogs Are Barking on MPW Digital, presented by Heath Riles Barbecue. My name's Landon, and on this Wednesday edition of the show, we are going to be talking through Mississippi State football. In particular, what's the best case scenario for Jeff Lebby's team in 2025? We'll go over the worst case scenario next week, but best case scenario today. And on top of that, we'll also talk about SEC Media Days. Next Wednesday is when Mississippi State, so a week from today is when State is scheduled to speak. And we'll have several players available with quarterback Blake Shapen, linebacker / safety Isaac Smith, probably the best player on the team, and Brennan Thompson as the wide receiver. So excited about that. And also, I mentioned it a couple shows ago, but our show is actually credentialed to be there, and so we're going to be there in Atlanta and get to interview some players and obviously Coach Lebby. And as I mentioned several weeks ago, thank you guys so much for watching and listening to the show. Always appreciative of that, even just having the opportunity to do so. And so we want to bring you the best coverage as we can, as someone that's, as a podcast, it's not an exclusive, news podcast that's kind of tied to a big site or anything. We're just very thankful, and also thankful to Neil and MPW Digital as well. But look, we got a lot of good stuff to get through in this show. And we'll also, as we look through the best case scenario, if you're watching on YouTube with us, we're also going to be looking at the schedule at the same time. So the bad, as I always say, the bad news of watching on YouTube is you got to see my face. The good news is you get to, see some graphics every once in a while. So we're going to look at Mississippi State schedule and just kind of talk about what's the best case scenario. And here's the reason I thought about this is I've been going on a few shows this past couple of weeks for different teams that Mississippi State is playing this season, kind of given previews and that kind of thing. And one of the questions that I've been asked several times, or in one way or the other, is regarding how I think the team is going to play and kind of what the best case scenario is for Mississippi State. So I've had to think through that several times. And so we're going to go through that. And then, as I mentioned, next week we'll go through kind of a worst case scenario. Also, last thing as an update on Thursday, we are going to have a Tennessee preview, and very excited. The guys from Vol Fanatics are going to be on the show and talking about the new Tennessee Vols. I mean, without Nico at the quarterback position, what's that kind of look like? So we have a lot of things to get through in the show. But first, before we get through any of those things, we want to let you know that this episode and every episode of My Dogs Pod is brought to you by our presenting sponsor. And I showed you their hat, Heath Riles Barbecue. Heath Riles is home to award-winning rubs, sauces, seasonings, glazes. It's created by 2025 Memphis in May Grand Champion and 81-time Grand Champion Heath Riles. And his products are trusted nationwide by pitmasters and backyard cooks alike, just like me, for bold flavor and winning results. You can shop their full lineup at heathrilesbarbecue.com or find them at over 15,000 retailers nationwide. But here's the thing. Here's what I tell you to do. Go to heathrilesbarbecue.com. Type in promo code DAWGS10, DAWGS 10 at checkout. Get 10% off. If you've never tried Heath's rubs, I'm just going to tell you, if you want to compliment this weekend, you want to compliment kind of going into the next couple weeks, get his competition style rub and go and get the sweet rub as well, and put the competition rub on some ribs and throw them in the smoker, leave them alone, and just collect compliments. I'm giving you a hack. I'm giving you some advice here. That's what I would do. So we always thank Heath Riles because with him, you can grill with confidence. You can season like a pro. Also, we want to thank our caffeine sponsors, ARPA's. Man, so excited for ARPA's and thankful for ARPA's in the Cotton District. The best part of Starkville, to me, is in the Cotton District. And my family had two businesses in Starkville on Main Street, just a little bit down from the Cotton District. Always have loved it. But they've done such a great job over there. And ARPA's, man, is a great place to go for coffee, for a drink, for great food, and really a unique experience. A Venezuelan restaurant / coffee shop. Jose and his family will take care of you. And look, here's the deal. We'll save you some more money. Anytime you go to ARPA's, today, tomorrow, the next day, every time, mention that you love the My Dogs Pod 15% off discount, and they'll give it to you. Also, every Friday from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m., all coffee, that's right, all coffee is 20% off. Outside of that, 15% off anytime that you mention that you're a listener of the show. Man, make sure you go by ARPA's. You will not regret it at all. And look, here's the last thing. There's been a lot of talk about Zac Selmon and Oklahoma. and Oklahoma's athletic director is retiring at the end of the year. And what does that mean for Zac Selmon and the connection there? I don't know. But I'd say this: it's probably good for Zac Selmon either way, personally, financially, because whether State gives him a bump in pay or Oklahoma pays him, that fella's going to get a bump. And also, look, he might even end up becoming rich. But what does it mean to be rich? Maybe it's less about reaching a magic number and more about discovering the magic in life. Skip Langley is your Batesville, Mississippi, Edward Jones financial advisor, serving clients in the area and across the state. Count on him for financial strategies that can help you support a life you love. Because the key to being rich is knowing what counts. So contact him today at 662-563-9843. And together, you can find your rich. We will talk about a little bit about the Zac Selmon situation. I think I have a perspective on it that might put State fans at ease in a way. We'll see. But we will get. Actually, you know what? No, let's just go right into it. So the Zac Selmon situation. State fans are worried that Zac Selmon is going to be going back to Oklahoma, because let's be honest, it seemed like that was kind of the plan all along, that he would stay at Mississippi State, show he can do the job. When the Oklahoma guy retires, that might be his job to take. But here's where it gets a little tough. Zac Selmon has objectively, to me, done a very good job at State in terms of build. I mean, he's a fundraising guy. He has raised funds. The baseball program appears to be in a really solid spot. We don't know how Brian O'Connor will do, but like in terms of how things look, raising the money, raising the NIL, like State's in a really, really good place. The problem is for Oklahoma at least, I don't know if Oklahoma fans care that much about baseball, but they do care about football. And the one hire that Zac Selmon has made in football is Jeff Lebby, and thus far, it's not a home run. Now, if Jeff Lebby does incredible this year and does really good things, like then I think you can start to worry. But honestly, man, like I just don't know how much of I just don't know if that really brings and generates a lot of excitement. He didn't hire Chris Jans, and Chris Jans is doing great for State, but he didn't hire him. His two hires that have been kind of big are Jeff Lebby, which again we don't is right now. I mean, they just went 2-10, and the NIL situation is not appearing to help the recruiting, because the recruiting's not looking good. On the other hand, the baseball program looks great, but I don't know if that's going to be enough to get the Oklahoma fan base excited. Now, that's the one part that's encouraging for State fans. Here's the part that's not. Oklahoma's administration might not care because of the situation that Mississippi State is in. They know Mississippi State was not going to be a juggernaut in football. They know State is kind of has a hand tied behind their back in some regards in terms of the administration whenever he got there, and then just kind of what it's like compared to an Oklahoma in terms of resources. They know those things. That's not lost on them. But that's the part where they might go, look, we know, look, you're doing as good of a job as you can at Mississippi State. Now, here's some more resources. Show us what you can do now. That's going to be the part where we'll see where this goes, where State might be in trouble when it comes to keeping Zac Selmon. But Oklahoma seemed like that was always the spot to go back to. And I don't know. Zac Selmon has ties to several other places just because of where he played and his family. But like Oklahoma, that's the spot. That's the one place I feel like he really would want to go back to. I think there's perspectives on both sides that they might look at the hire in Jeff Lebby and go, that wasn't the right guy at Mississippi State, and go, no, well, what are you going to do whenever it's time at Oklahoma? But if I had to guess, I think they kind of understand the perspective of everything and go, you know what? Maybe that's not the biggest deal. Maybe the bigger deal is the situation Mississippi State was in, and if you had all these resources, things might be different. So for switching lanes from there, again, SEC Media Days is coming up next week. Really excited about that. And as I mentioned, Blake Shapen is going to be representing State, Isaac Smith, and Brennan Thompson, the former Oklahoma and Texas wide receiver. And I like towards the end of our show after the break, it'll be a while from now, but we will get to some of the things that I'm kind of curious of asking. But I like that from like Isaac Smith being a guy to represent State. Absolutely. Blake Shapen did it last year. Absolutely. Maybe don't wear a blue suit this time, but that's fine. The Brennan Thompson is kind of an I was kind of wondering who the third player was going to be. Um, it's kind of funny. Last year, John Lewis goes to SEC Media Days and he's not even playing by the end of the year. And so now, so anyway, I was wondering if, honestly, I thought that Davon Booth might be the guy they ended up seeing, or it might end up sending. But Brendan Thompson obviously has a big history with Jeff Lebby, and so that makes sense. But we'll get to some of the stuff with SEC Media Days towards the end of the show. I do want to share my screen, and let's talk about the best case scenario for Jeff Lebby and Mississippi State. Going over State's schedule. Obviously, the first game is on the road at Southern Miss, and we talked about that a couple weeks ago. Having a beat writer who covers Southern Miss for Sports Talk on the show, and Southern Miss has got a big influx of talent, and honestly, all the pressures on Mississippi State there. I don't, that's a tough deal. But in terms of best case scenarios, we're erring on that side of things. State wins this game. And honestly, if we're talking best case, and also I just want to be clear, best case scenario, well, maybe it's going undefeated. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying what's the most realistic best case scenario for Mississippi State. And honestly, you might think I'm crazy, and you might not. I think it's Mississippi State beating Arizona State in the second week. Here's why. It's in Starkville, and that means that there's LED lights. So State's going to win. I'm joking. But obviously it's in Starkville, and last season Arizona State made the college football playoff and was a really good team. Mississippi State, if you remember, it's 28-21. State started to make a comeback with no running game in the defensive line that could not stop anybody. I remember it was one of those, it was like a third and I want to say 6. It was situated. Actually, it might have been more than that. It might have been like a 3rd and 8. And if State stopped them, they were going to get one more opportunity to go down the score. And they gave it to Scadaboo. And not only did he pick up the first down, he picked up like 23 yards and then just nailed a secondary defender at the end. And I think that's when everyone went, okay. Like, it's one thing to lose, but Lord have mercy, man. If you're doing all the rest of this, like, this is getting, ridiculous. But this is a different team. And Sam Leavitt is going to be, he's back. He played against State last year. He didn't play a good game last season. And so in the best case scenario of things, State wins this game in Starkville and can just run. Like, you have to expect that State is going to be able to stop them on the ground a little bit more. And if so, then they're going to have the ability to kind of just say, okay, well, let Sam Leavitt beat us. And in my personal best case scenario, sorry, I don't know why I'm remarkably popular this morning. Everybody's shooting me texts and won't leave me alone. Also, anyway, so for Arizona State, I think that would have State winning that game, but I don't know. In the most realistic version, that's not best case scenario, that's objective. Like, this is a game that's, I think it's more, more 50-50 than anything. Maybe 55-45 Arizona State. I don't know. State played so well on the road last season, even with such a bad team, and you would expect them to be better this season. That I think they get that done. Alcorn State, I think obviously you win that game. Northern Illinois, man, I'll tell you what. So at this point in my scenario, they're 3-0. Northern Illinois, really enjoyed having head coach Thomas Hammock on last week. That was really fun. That was really, really cool. And the Northern Illinois Athletic Department shared it. Several Northern Illinois people reached out to me after that. And so that was really cool, man. I really, really like Coach Hammock. And we'll get to a more further matchup the week of this game. But in my personal best case scenario, State's able to beat this team despite the fact they have several of their players. Now, here's where you might think I'm a little loopy. In my best case scenario of things, so States has this 3-game period where you're playing Tennessee in Starkville, playing at A&M, and you're playing at Florida. In my best case scenario, the best case scenario that's objective, I think State wins one of those games. Which is kind of sad. You look at the SEC and you go, man, your best case scenario has them winning one game, but it's one game against 3 top 25 teams. And I got to be honest with you, you might not like it. I think that win could possibly come against Tennessee. It's tough because even saying it out loud, it's like I don't know. Then because then you'd have to say State's 5-0, and that just does not seem realistic at all. I don't know. I gotta be all right. You know what? I'm taking an objective move here. We're switching things out. State loses against Arizona State, and they beat Tennessee. I don't know. I can't see them going 5-0, but I can see them beating Tennessee again. State played Tennessee really well last season, despite the fact they were outgunned in every single scenario. But this season, Tennessee is without Nico, and State started to run the ball effectively against Tennessee last season, but just defensively, what's funny is defensively, State held Tennessee, I think, to 20 points for a long time, and in the end, they couldn't hold it. But Tennessee, Jeff Lebby played Tennessee really well because he knows Josh Heupel, and Josh Heupel knows him well, and so Heupel was able to shut down what Lebby was trying to do. But in my best case scenario of things, State wins this game in Starkville. Now, my best case scenario when it comes to Texas A&M, I think State loses that game. Actually, pretty excited about that one, man. I was looking at flights with my wife. I've never been to College Station, but like I've always wanted to go to their stadium. I've just always heard it's such an amazing place, and so we're looking at going and making that one of the games that we cover in person. That's on the road. But I have a tough time. I mean, A&M was so improved last year, and it's so hard to win in in College Station, especially at night. It's gonna be one of the night games. I'm taking A&M there, and same thing for Florida. I think State played well against Florida last year, all things considered, but it's in Gainesville. I don't see it happening because I think DJ Lagway is about to explode for Florida this year. I'm excited as a part of SEC Media Days. One of the things we'll do is vote on certain awards, and DJ Lagway is going to get several. To me, so I think they lose that game for their second loss of the season, which will be back to back. And then I think in this third game here in Starkville, I think that's unfortunate that it's going to be the third loss in a row. I don't see them beating Arch and company in Starkville. Not much more to go about there. The whole Manning family is going to be there. Like, what do you going to have freaking Eli Manning just hanging out in the junction? Peyton Manning surrounded by cowbells. I don't see it. I think Arch is going to take care of business. Now, Arkansas, again, this is the best case scenario. Arkansas, I hate the fact this is on the road. Arkansas tore apart Mississippi State last year. The problem is I don't know how things are going in Fayetteville. Like, it seems like they're just kind of waiting to replace their head coach. And so in my scenario, State gets this done and wins the game in Arkansas. I can see it happening, but Taylor Green's an issue. So like State's going to have to figure out their defensive line. And this is the best case scenario. So in my scenario, that the best case scenario, State's defensive line is able to muster some quarterback pressures, which is bananas to say out loud, right? Isn't that crazy? I was on a show for Texas has is a podcast for Texas football, and I mentioned the stat that State had gotten 6 total sacks last season, and it's laughable. But then State has Georgia, and let's just it's an 11 a.m. kick. It's in Starkville. I think Georgia gets the win there. And then in my best case scenario, State travels to Missouri in a difficult game. The Kevin Coleman game is what we're going to call it, and that's one where the quarterback position is going to be different. The running back position I think is improved at Missouri. Having Ahmad Hardy there is going to be really, really good. But at night at Missouri, you have to wonder how Missouri's playing at this point in the season, like what exactly they're kind of looking to. And so in my best case scenario, I think this one's how could it be? Could it go either way? I don't know. In Missouri, I just have trouble thinking State gets that one done. Then we roll to the Egg Bowl in Starkville. Ole Miss comes to Davis Wade on Black Friday, and 11 a.m. kick. I love the night games for the Egg Bowl, but that's me. In the best case scenario for Mississippi State, State wins this game. It's not out of the realm of possibility. It's just this rivalry is too weird. And I mean, State was up 14-0 over Ole Miss last year, and until they simply could not hold it anymore. And it's going to be interesting to see what Ole Miss is like this season. I mean, Austin Simmons looks to be play every bit of the part. I mean, he played well in relief of Jackson Dart last season, and obviously they still have the skill set. I love Damian Taylor in the backfield for Ole Miss is great. I covered Damian when he was at Tuscaloosa County High and playing at 7A, so it's the hardest division it's one of the hardest in America because you have Hoover and you have Thompson and Spain Park and Vestavia and all these ridiculously talented teams. And Phoenix City down. I mean, on a team with not a lot of talent, he cared because they knew he was going to get the ball, and yet Damian Taylor just would muster through. It was really impressive to see. And then he's had an impressive career at Troy. Ole Miss got a really good one there. However, in the best case scenario of things, State wins this game. Now, if you were to ask me, what about when there's not a best case scenario, up and down, what's your opinion? I still think State has a shot because it's this rivalry. Every single year, there's something on both sides of the coin. So, if I were to go back though and kind of take the count, beating Southern Miss, beating Alcorn State, beating Northern Illinois, beating Tennessee, that's 4 wins. Beating Arkansas is 5 wins. Beating Ole Miss would be 6 wins. I think the absolute best case scenario is 6-6. That if Jeff Lebby went 6-6 at Mississippi State, it would be a really huge deal. And so I know I'm talking the best case scenario. Everything goes right. State wins 6 games. Still kind of a sad thing to say out loud, but I think that's true, man. I think State that's the best case that State can ask for, 6-6, especially 6-6. And you were to beat Ole Miss at the end of the season and then go to a bowl game. You would have things moving in the right direction for Mississippi State. That would be the goal. And so that's kind of where I'll leave that. Let me know you can give me your comments on what my best case scenario is, but I want to know yours. Like, tell me yours. It's easy to say like, well, that sucked, but give me yours. I want to hear what you have to say. Like, do you think that 6-6 is this ceiling? Or is the ceiling more like 5-7? Is it 4-8? Is the ceiling 3-9? That would be really sad. But we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about SEC Media Days and some of the questions I'm interested to ask Blake Shapen. So keep your eyes here. You're listening to MyDawgsPod on MPW Digital, presented by Heath Riles Barbecue.
All MPW Digital podcasts are brought to you by our friends at Parish Brewing Company, located in the heart of Cajun country in Broussard, Louisiana. Parish Brewing Company's simple goal is to make awesome craft brewed beer, and they do it remarkably well. The doctor is introducing their new go-to IPA, Dr. Juice. It's a highly crushable juice bomb, dry hopped with a blend of their favorite hand-selected hops from the Yakima Valley in Washington. Dr. Juice's drinkability is sneaky good, considering it clocks in at 6% ABV. The pour glows a rich cantaloupe hue with a thick frosted haze, soft mouthfeel, an aroma and taste that's full of passion fruit, papaya, and blood orange, making it drink like a glass of freshly squeezed juice. They also have Ghost in the Machine. It's a double IPA brewed with obscene quantities of hand-selected Citra hops from Yakima Valley. Expect pungent grapefruit flavors and aromas, tropical fruit, less harsh bitterness than most IPAs. Again, it's Parish Brewing Company. Wherever you get your beer, check out Parish. Make sure that you look for them, because any beer that you get from Parish is going to be absolutely outstanding. Thank you from MPW Digital. We're brought to you by Easy Hemp Company. Easy is a hemp-infused sparkling water. It's a guilt-free alcohol alternative, a natural way to relax and unwind. It's all natural. Made with real fruit, no added sugar, low calories, gluten-free. One 12-ounce can of Easy has 3 milligrams of THC. With Easy, it's easy to avoid the gummy scare and control your experience. So change the can, not the ritual. It's easy. Visit easyhempco.com to view the Easy Finder to find Easy near you. Easy is Farm Bill compliant with hemp derived from THC, CBD extracts. Easy is for people 21 and older. Enjoy responsibly.
You're working on MPW Digital, presented by Heath Riles Barbecue. And to close out the show, we're going to talk about SEC Media Days. As I mentioned several times in the show, Blake Shapen, Isaac Smith, Brennan Thompson going to be representing Mississippi State. And I'm very excited about that. Man, honored to be able to cover it for you guys. We'll have player interviews. We'll try to have some fun with it. It's going to be a good time. We might even take a selfie with Neil. We might. If you made it this far in the video and you would like to see that, just comment selfie with Neil. But no, I mean, I'm excited to be able to be there. But one of the questions I want to ask Blake Shapen is this, because Shapen is notorious for his play style being aggressive, which is great. The downside is you get yourself injured, and as we've seen, unfortunately, in his career thus far. I think one of the questions I'm really interested in asking him is, what are you going to try to do to kind of slow down the injury risk? And because Coach Lebby mentioned in the spring, that was something they talked about the most, was, hey, do you have, or is what are some smarter ways to play instead of just tucking and running and putting your head down? Like, what's a better way to play that you can have longevity throughout the season? Because if Blake Shapen last the entire season, I mean, State's got a good shot. Shapen played well. He was just injured and did not have a running game. So, like, compare the running game that Michael Van Buren got with how Shapen played at times last season. I know the Toledo game is one of them, but State could not move the ball against Toledo. So I think having Davon Booth and Fluff Bothwell really does help State, obviously, going forward. That's kind of the obvious thing to say. But I want to ask him some specifics on, like, what does that mean? Like, are you working on sliding a lot more? Are there different kind of play sheets in those running situations? Are there packages for Kamario Taylor to come in and just kind of run it? Like, I'm interested to know what that's going to look like. For Isaac Smith, I would just say, like, I want to know, like, what's been the benefit of bringing in the two former head coaches, Mike McIntyre and Paul Rhodes, on the defensive staff. Like, what's the difference on coaching last season defensively versus this season, and just kind of maybe try to read between the lines on what he's saying. I'm interested to know. Obviously, bringing in a new Coach Darby from the University of Colorado, who's doing the outside backers, makes me think that Isaac Smith will play some time with him. Obviously, he's doing safety as well, but he's kind of a hybrid. He's such a good player, easily the best player on the team. And then for Brennan Thompson, I don't really know. That's a scenario where I'm trying to. He's played so much football. Maybe what's special about Coach Lebby's. I'm so tired of talking about Coach Lebby's offense, and tell us about Coach Lebby's offense. What's special about it? What's at some point, and I think the recruits feel the same way. At some point, you want to see results. At some point, you want to see this is what his offense is. And so I don't know. I'll probably ask Brennan something along the lines of what is, maybe who's a guy in the receiving core that no one's talking about right now that by the end of the season will be a household name. I think Anthony Evans could be a potential one. Anthony Evans III, being able to play there in the slot, getting a lot of attention. Jordan Mosley also, I was thinking about this. Jordan Mosley also might be someone that, we're just so used to having at this point, but he might end up being, their leading receiver on this team. So excited to be able to ask those things. If there's a particular question you want me to ask, feel free to make a suggestion. Comment on Twitter. It's just at MyDawgsPod, or comment down below. But let me know, what is the best case scenario for Mississippi State this season? Next week, we're going to the worst case scenario. So that will be interesting. I've got some perspectives on things, but I think the best case scenario, the absolute ceiling, is 6-6. But you tell me, what do you think? Until next time. So I think we got Thursday afternoons, our next episode, where we will do a Tennessee preview with Vols Fanatics from the College Huddle. Until then, you are watching, you're listening to My Dogs Pod on MPW Digital, presented by Heath Riles Barbecue. We'll holler at you next.